Old gun guy here. Welcome to my video, Walther PPK and the 380 ACP cartridge. I'll be discussing this fine little firearm, Walther PPK, semi-automatic pistol, its ammunition, the 380 automatic Colt pistol cartridge. I'll go into a little history of the gun, its designer's intended primary use, what it would be optimally used for, which is basically concealed carry, self-defense, home defense inside your house. I'll field strip it, show you how it comes apart. We will then shoot it, paper target for accuracy offhand, chronograph some various 380 ACP loads I happen to have on hand, to see how they perform. Our little very cheap impromptu terminal effects target, which consists of 1 gallon jugs of water filled with water, milk jugs, iced tea jugs, a 3/4 inch piece of plywood, simulate bone, followed by some more water jugs, and we'll examine that. The final thing, I'll do a close-up on the actual recoil of the pistol with just the camera focused on the pistol, firing a couple of shots. The recoil is quite manageable on this pistol, as you'll see. For comparison, the base pistol I use is a 22 target pistol, a Ruger Mark II, an older model, bull barrel, heavy barrel target pistol, just to show as a base the recoil. Let's get into it. This pistol is an enduring design. Walther, the Walther Gun Works in Germany, they were in the eastern part of Germany early on, designed and produced the first modern double action single action semi-automatic pistol. Elements of this design have been copied for the 90 some odd years this firearm has been in production. They start out with the PP, which is a slightly larger version of the exact same pistol. This is the PPK, a slightly smaller version. This pistol has a 6 cartridge capacity magazine, and you can have 1 load in a chamber for a total of 7. The PPK stands for Polizei Pistol Kriminal with a K. In Germany, K usually stands for Kurz or short, and the 380 round in Germany is called 9mm Kurz or short, but that's not what the K stands for here. It's basically a detective's pistol. The criminal investigative police, I guess, in Germany at the time. It served the same purpose or capacity as our detectives, would carry 2-inch 38 caliber revolvers, what's called a snub nose revolver, short revolver, easily concealable handgun. In fact, Colt named their version of that revolver the Detective Special. This would be the Germans' Detective Special. That's how it started life. What I mean by double and single action operation is the safety's off. This firearm's been cleared. There's no live ammunition here. Actually, if you have the gun set to fire and you charge it, it will cock the hammer. But we'll decock it for now. Basically, if you had loaded the gun, pulled the slide back, chambered around into the chamber, strip around at a magazine chambered around, put the safety, there's 2 positions on it. Let's see if I show up on the camera. Fire, it's pointing the same way as the muzzle, and down is safe. If you pull the trigger on this gun, it will cock the hammer and release. That's the double action. When the gun cycles, the second shot, the hammer will be cocked and it'll be a lighter trigger pull. Very heavy trigger pull on this pistol, about 13 pounds. The double action pull and the single action pull, as it is now, about 6 pounds. Another very useful feature on this gun is if it was in a cocked mode, you could just safely release the hammer by dropping the safety. Hammer drop safety. These features are carried to this day in numerous pistols of this design. Obviously not the polymer framed striker fired pistols. The gun's made entirely of steel. This model here, this one, my personal one, is was made in West Germany, Ulm, ULM, West Germany. In 1931, when it started production in Europe, it continued throughout the Second World War. Obviously, the Nazi regime took over, and some of the World War II collectors, seek these out with the Waffenamps, the World War II German acceptance stamps. It's basically an eagle holding a little circle, a little tiny swastika on it. This particular pistol was made in 1968, and I'll show you when I take it apart. And 1968 is a very important year as far as firearms in the United States go. But before we get into it, this one's blued. It's made in West Germany by the Walther firm. After the Second World War, as the Russians took over East Germany, Walther's factory, I forget what town it was in the east, had to flee. They fled to West Germany, and Ulm is where they are to this day, I believe. The firearm is a double-action, single-action, semi-automatic pistol. It is straight blowback. There's no locking mechanism in here. The frame, the barrel is fixed to the frame. It doesn't move. It relies on the spring pressure, the mass of the slide, and overcoming a hammer spring to cock the mechanism to delay the breech opening or the chamber opening until the bullet leaves the muzzle. The 380 in a handgun is the 380 cartridge, 380 automatic Colt pistol cartridge is about the most powerful cartridge you can use a blowback action in a handgun. There's World War II submachine guns that obviously fire 45 ACP or 9mm that are straight blowback, but they have a large, heavy bolt. It's a lot of mass. It causes the same delay. This gun's been cleared. I'm going to briefly demonstrate its functioning. Obviously, some firearms here are clean from the muzzle. This firearm's been cleared by me. When you fire, the case expands, the chamber forms a seal. The bullet starts moving down the barrel. The pressure of the demonstrator here, the pressure of the cartridge goes straight back and begins to unlock the action. There's no unlocking. It's just force against the slide. As the bullet exits the muzzle, the chamber pressure is dropped. Inertia, the principle that keeps the slide going back, cocking the hammer till it reaches its stop against the recoil spring, and then the recoil spring drives it forward, loading another cartridge. I'll try that again. Basically, you fire the gun, boom, straight back, straight back. And that's straight blowback, as best as I can demonstrate. Kind of hard to see with these old eyes on this little screen. All right, we're going to drop the safety. That's basically it for the operation. To disassemble a gun, very simple design. This design's been copied. I think the Russian Makarov is a unlicensed copy of this. I think the Hungarian Arms Factory, FEG, makes a copy of this. It's been imitated. The second generation Smith & Wesson 659 semi-automatic pistol that I carried on the police department for a brief period of time was one of my favorite pistols. Operates pretty much exactly like this, except it has a locking mechanism, but the double action, single action firing mechanism is the same. To disassemble this gun, you pull down the trigger guard and push it towards the right of the gun. It'll hang up on the frame a little bit here, be out of your way. It's easier to do if you cock the hammer, take the slide off. slide goes fully to the rear, and you lift it up off the frame and slide the frame off. Okay, and basically that's all you have to do to take the gun apart, to clean and service it. I'm going to put the firearm on a table and take the camera off the tripod and zoom in, but before I do that, I do not know if this will show up on camera, but the 1968 date of manufacture is on the barrel, on the chamber here, part of the barrel, below the proof stamps. I don't know if the proof stamps will show up. It's a set of antlers, that's a proof mark, and the 1968, which coincides with the serial number. So let me put the firearm on a towel and show you close up. Okay, we're back. This is obviously the recoil spring. Slides over the barrel. The barrel is fixed into the frame. I don't know if that shows up well. My cheesy little camera here. Alright. The frame is milled out of a piece of steel, and the firing components are inside the frame. The firing pin is in a channel in a slide. Let's see if we get that. Okay. Extractor is also on the right side of the slide. The breech face, or breech block, if you want to call it that, right there. Basically, it's a slide. This firearm was imported by Interarms, who is the import agent for Walther for many decades. In 1968, I'll go into that in a second, but get the slide barrel. To clean this, obviously, you get your brush out, brush the chamber, get your cleaning brushes, 9mm brush. This fires 355 thousandths finish projectiles, basically 9mm. Clean a bore, brush, solvent. I use Hoppy's number 9, been using that for decades as a solvent. As a lubricant, I use Ballistol. I'm very fond of that, been using that for about 12 years, 10, 12 years. Not much to clean it. I'm not going to do a cleaning video, but easy, simple firearm to maintain. Alright, I'm going to reassemble this. Springs over the barrel, barrel's fixed to the frame. Trigger guard is still pulled down in the release unlock position. You basically put the slide over the barrel in an angled fashion, all the way on the frame and forward. Put the trigger guard back up. The pistol's good to go. Drop the hammer. Let's reassemble. This is the magazine. 6 cartridges, like I said, 1 in the chamber. I euphemistically like to refer to the modern United States as Roman Empire 2.0, and Rome issued 2 edicts with firearms, major firearm laws: the 1934 National Firearms Act and the 1968 Gun Control Act. There was a big drive in it. I remember as a kid in grade school, obviously after the assassination of President Kennedy, and then the assassination of his brother Robert in '68. It was a big push for gun control. Prior to that time, there was no federal firearm dealers, or you could order firearms through the mail. President Kennedy was killed with a rifle that was ordered in mail order to Lee Harvey Oswald, and Bobby Kennedy was killed with what they called at the time Saturday Night Special, small, cheap pistols, revolvers, and semi-autos. Small. He was killed with a 20 caliber 22 long rifle revolver. The Gun Control Act of 1968 was passed. The 1934 Act dealt with machine guns, short barrel rifles, shotguns, destructive devices, silencers, They put a tax on those items because they couldn't outlaw them, but they put a prohibitive tax. In 1934, a $200 tax, I think equivalent today, is $4,500. That was the tax then. So it made those items far too expensive for the average person to even acquire. You know, it became a rich guy's game. The Gun Control Act of '68 established a licensing scheme for firearm dealers. That's where we get federal firearm dealer, FFL licensees now. We go to a gun store and buy a firearm from them. They run a background check. In 1993, the Brady, 1994, the Brady Firearms Act was basically an addendum to the Gun Control Act. 1968 required federal instant background checks. When you want to go for a firearm, you apply, give them their information. They call up either through the local kingdom you live in or straight to the feds. Your information. If you're not a felon, you get a okay, and you can buy the firearm. That's basically what Brady is. But in 1968, this fell under the Saturday Night Special Clause of the Gun Control Act. It didn't have enough points to be imported. So 1968 is the last year these could be imported into the United States. Interarms, after that, when they could no longer import them, started building them from parts that were shipped here or made here, manufactured here. A lot of them were made of stainless steel. The quality was not what the Germans were. This was an authorized off-duty firearm on my agency, and I carried this as a backup gun for about 5 years. It was backup to my primary arm, which was a Glock 17 at the time. Worked in bad neighborhoods, and all cops carried 2 guns. So every cop had a backup. This was my backup for a while. I carried an appendix carry under my gun belt, and it was light and unobtrusive. It only weighs 19 ounces. The barrel's 3.3 inches long, and I carried in this DeSantis holster. Nice piece of leather. It's still in good shape. And that was my application for it. Many detectives carried this, but they had most of them had interarms made in the USA guns, and a lot of jams. This thing never jams. Feeds hollow points. I've never had a problem with it. All kind of hollow points, all kind of ball ammunition. Never fails to function. Walther set up their own factory in Arkansas in 2018, and they started manufacturing them here. I would acquire one of them if you want a modern one. I think they stopped production in 2023, so this has been in production like 91 or 2 years. Successful ideas stand the test of time through the ages, and this is one of them. It's a good handy firearm. Its primary purpose: concealed carry, personal protection, home defense. As such, in cop slang, I would call this a belly gun, and meaning close range arm, close range encounter. If you're a civilian or young woman, or you just inherited one of these, you can say, is this useful? It's extremely well made. If you have an older one like this, or a newer made Walther. I kind of steer clear of the interarms manufactured ones. I guess from 70 till they went through several iterations. I think Smith & Wesson was manufacturing these for a while. I can't speak to manufacturing them or assembling them, but it gets convoluted throughout time. But it's a fine little pistol if you should inherit one. If you walk into a gun store and you see it in the used section, and, oh, that's a cool little pistol. Yes, it's James Bond's pistol in all of his movies, Walther PPK. This is also the same type of pistol that Adolf Hitler shot himself with in a bunker. His was in .32 ACP, automatic Colt pistol, also called 7.65 Browning in Europe. That's what he used on himself. This pistol was made in 4 different calibers: 22 long rifle, 25 automatic Colt pistol, 25 ACP, 32 ACP, and 380 ACP. And I'll go into the cartridge in a minute. big camera here. All right. The 380 ACP cartridge has been around for about 116 years. In modern loadings or modern bullets, they tend to perform, you know, get the most you can possibly get out of this small cartridge. All handguns, regardless of caliber, on the low end of power scale of firearms, even the mighty 44 Magnum or above that. Rifles are vastly more powerful, as are shotguns. Basically, in the terminology of the firearms world, you have pistol caliber weapons, some are carbines, a lot of handguns, low end of the power scale. You have intermediate, what's considered intermediate power cartridges, like the 223 Remington 5.56 NATO, 5.45 by 40 by 39 Russian round, 7.62 by 39 Russian round. I guess you could throw a 300 Blackout into that too. Intermediate in power. They're generally, for the erroneous term, assault rifle. A lot of military pattern, semi-automatic sport rifles, chambered in that caliber. The original intent of that, not to get off on the weeds, was the German army discovered they didn't need cartridges that were lethal or effective out to 1,000 yards, like the 7.92 Mauser. They wanted an infantry rifle more powerful than a submachine gun, but less powerful than a full power rifle, and they developed a 7.92 by 33 Kurz. Because they found most combat plays 0 to 300 yards, and that's what the intermediate cartridges do. The full power rifle cartridges, some still in service in militaries, most of them are machine gun cartridges, general purpose machine guns in various militaries, various calibers. Hunting rifle cartridges, vastly more powerful than handguns. In the handgun scale, the 380 auto or the 9mm Kurz is about the minimum that's ever recommended for personal protection or personal defense. You go off into its main purpose here is defend yourself against another human. Okay, we're back. I have 380 ACP. For comparison, I have several other cartridges here, but this is the 380 ACP. 9mm short, 9mm Kurz, 9mm Corto. This is a expended casing for the same round. To the right is 38 Special. It's got 158 grain jacketed hollow point, not jacketed hollow point, lead semi-watt cutter hollow point. This is the ubiquitous 9mm. It's a dummy round, obviously, because the primer's punched out of it. It fell over. It's hard on this little towel. This is the 45 ACP right here. Colt 45 ACP in an empty expended casing. Go into a little bit of the history and the capabilities of this little 380 that this particular Walther fires. Got a little interrupted there. And yes, the old phone is hooked up and it does work. When used against a human adversary in a defensive role, a lawful defensive role, another thing I have to go into is know the laws in your particular state or locality. They vary widely. I like to say the United States is the Roman Empire 2.0, and you have 50 different kingdoms within it, and principalities, and they all have widely different laws. I think 27 of the kingdoms now you can carry a handgun concealed with no permit, and I think the other 23 you have to get some type of permit. Some of the real harsh states were forced to give their citizens concealed carry permits due to recent Supreme Court decisions, as it should be. Some of the kingdoms you might find yourself in are ruled by harsh rulers who belong as a character in a Franz Kafka novel, and some of the kingdoms are very benevolent and rational. So I don't know where you live or what the rules are, but if you're going to think about defending yourself with a firearm, the best self-defense use of any firearm is the encounter you don't get into. You avoid by paying attention to what's going on and not keeping your head out of the phone. Situational awareness, avoidance. You don't have to shoot anybody for a number of reasons. Obviously, you'll carry it with you inside you for the rest of your life. And number two, it's a legal nightmare. Like I said, you'd be justified 1,000% under the law, and you get a lunatic prosecutor who wants to crucify you, ruin your life. So avoidance is always best. But if you can't avoid, and you absolutely got no choice, and you have to defend your life, then go ahead and defend your life, because it's better to be carried by judged by 12 than carried by 6, as the old saying goes. That said, there's lots of stuff bandied about stopping power and all handguns being low powered. 3 reasons a person will stop doing what he's doing and cause you to shoot him. 2 are physiological, 1 psychological. You shoot and miss or even hit and minor wound your adversary is trying to hurt you or kill you. Psychologically, he says, I'm shot, I'm getting out of here. He runs. And in my course of my 33-year career, I've seen it happen a few times. The guy gets called later, a few hours later, in an emergency room, getting treatment for his bullet wound. But he ran like a Thompson Gazelle for blocks away from the scene of the shooting. The other 2 are physiological. Your brain's very sensitive to blood pressure. You lose, your blood pressure goes low, drops enough, you'll lose consciousness. So obviously the more damage a projectile can do to the internal structures, the vital structures within somebody's torso, arteries, lung, obviously heart, blood pressure drops, and person stops fighting. I've seen people shot, run 3 or 4 blocks and bleed out and die. But the bullet didn't stop them. All right, it's not like on TV where people get shot and blown through the air. The other one is neurological. Any strike to the central nervous system, the computer, generally shuts everything off, but not always. And I've had experiences talking to people shot in the head. I'm not going to go into that now. So basically, this is at the bottom end of the power scale for a handgun that you would rely on for daily concealed carry. Obviously, people carry 22 tiny automatics, 25 automatics, 32 automatics, very tiny. Will they kill? Absolutely. Are they optimal for defending yourself? No. They can get the job done, though. Is this optimal for defending yourself? It'll serve. It's not my first choice if that's the only thing I had to carry. In fact, if I knew I was going to be in a gunfight, I wouldn't be using a handgun. If I knew I was walking out the door in my room or was in my house here, shotgun or a rifle, proper rifle, but a shotgun mostly inside the house. But a handgun serves. So enough in the weeds with that. I'm gonna demonstrate the 4 ammunitions here. I got critical defense here. I have some low core bond, some Remington Golden Saber. I'm gonna chronograph them. I'm gonna shoot my target offhand, demonstrate what you could expect out of such a small handgun, accuracy wise. It'll get the job done. I'm going to shoot pocket pistols, as I call them, or belly guns, from a distance of more than 10 yards or 30 feet. And that's going to cover any distance you're going to deal with in a normal self-defense setting. Going to use my very cheap terminal effects target, jugs of water with a 3/4 inch sheet of plywood sandwiched in there. If a projectile goes through a 3/4 inch piece of plywood, it'll create a lethal wound or fatal wound. And I'll show I'm trying to demonstrate the recoil. It's not really big, but if I can get the pistol again. This little holster, it's cleared, there's no ammo in it. it basically fits in the palm of my hand. All right, so it is a nice concealable pistol. It's about 1 inch wide. With that, we'll move on to the other part of this video. Okay, at the chronograph, first up is going to be the cellular and below. Full metal jacket. It's 96 grams, 95 grains. 2 shots. Pretty consistent. Now we're going to go to the next ammo. TX projectile. It's polymer tipped. Okay, next up is Kurz jacketed hollow point, 90 grain plus P. That was quite a spread. I'm going to try one more shot with that Kurz. Alright, the next shot is one more to Kurz, and then it'll be 2 Remington Golden Saber. I believe they're 95 grain jacketed hollow points. I didn't record the first Golden Saber. Reset this. Okay. I think I'm losing the light here. All right, that's enough for now. And here's our velocity and energy figures. The cellular and below, 92 grain full metal jacket. At average, we're going to give it 850 feet a second. The energy was 173 foot-pounds. Warranty critical defense, 90 grain FTX projectile. Velocity was 948 on average for 2 shots. 179 foot-pounds. Kurz, 90 grain jacket hollow point, 998.5. I disregarded the one real low shot. It might have been a chronograph. Energy comes out to 199 foot-pounds. There's a ballistic formula to figure that out. They have calculators online. It's a lot easier just to punch the numbers in a calculator. That's where you get the energy foot-pounds. Golden Saber, 102 grain brass jacketed hollow point. Velocity 850 feet a second. Is the heaviest of the projectiles. 158 foot-pounds of energy. And that's it for our chronograph results. I'm going to try and demonstrate the potential accuracy, or what you could expect from this 380 caliber Walther PPK. I'm going to shoot it from 10 yards, about 30 feet, and that should cover most personal defensive distances, maybe the maximum distance within your house. So I'm going to fire 5 shots offhand. I'm going to charge the weapon. When I charge it, it'll the hammer will be cocked back in single action. I'm going to fire all 5 shots in single action mode. A little more accurate than the very heavy double action trigger pull, the first trigger pull, and then the follow-ups are single action. That has to be practiced quite a bit, and you want to take, just show what the pistol can do. If we were in a speed shooting competition, then yes, you want to fire the pistol double action first shot, and each follow-up shot's single action till ran out of ammunition. I have 5 shots. It's a 6-shot magazine, both 6 cartridges, 380 ACP. I'm going to use Sicilian ball ammunition. I think it's 92 grain full metal jacket projectile. I'm going to zoom the camera in on the target so you see the shots impacted. Those are our 5 shots. Not a spectacular group. We'll get the job done. Typical would expect from a small concealed pocket pistol. Obviously, if I was out here shooting it for a little bit, I'm shot this firearm for a while. Probably tighten the group up a little bit. Most of that's me, but you'd expect that at 30 feet or 10 yards. Typical shot dispersion. It won't a boiler works. It'll get the job done. Okay, back at the terminal effect target. I'm going to shoot a quantity critical defense 90 grain projectile. The first jug filled with water. This 3/4 inch piece of plywood will simulate a bone, and 4 jugs behind it. Hopefully we can capture the projectile. So we'll see what the 380 can do to this. Clear. 1 jug of water. And in, a little low, I'm at the bottom. Actually bounced off the plywood, just made a dent. Not very impressive. Let's try to test again. This time with the 3/4 inch plywood in front of the water jugs. See if we get any better result. Alright, I gotta try and hit it so it strikes the first water jug through the plywood. Okay, went through the plywood. Struck the first jug. Entrance, exit, split it. Struck the second jug. Split it. There's no projectile in there. Skid it off to the left. Okay. We'll go back into the inside for the summary. And I'm back. I was able to actually find the first projectile. I went through the water jug. It expanded quite a bit. I don't know if that's going to come across. Let's see. Perfect expansion. It bounced off the, I don't know if this will show up on camera, right where my finger is. This little dent. So it went through 6 inches of water, expanded, hit the board and bounced off. The second one, hitting the board first, and clean through. Clean through. Exited. It's hard to see in the light here. Exited right there. Alright. So pretty tame performance, if you ask me. And we're back for the summary. So what can we say about our ammunition here? The velocities ran from 850 feet per second to just about 1,000 feet per second, with projectiles ranging from 90 grains to 102. The Remington Golden Saber was a 102 grain projectile, brass jacket at hollow point. It didn't register on the chronograph, but I did chronograph it. I just didn't get it on tape. It was 850 feet per second. I give you the energy figures, but all these loads are sub 200 foot-pounds of energy, which is just a paper number. It's just something for comparison. We're comparing the relative power of cartridges and projectiles. The core bond, I discarded the one shot that was like 250 feet a second slower than the other two. That averaged almost 1,000. The Hornady Critical Defense, which I do carry in this pistol. When I do carry it, sometimes I use it as a pocket gun. Basically, it's the polymer tipped hollow point. It actually doesn't count as a hollow point in some of the harsh handguns, but it's a hollow point. It's filled with polymer. It generally performs well, the projectile. In my little terminal effects test, it penetrated the one jug of water, and that was it. Bounced right off the plywood. I did find the projectile after I filmed. It was laying on the ground about 5 feet away. It expanded perfectly in the water jug. Perfect expansion. Put it on this. See how steady my hand is here. Not that steady. Okay, put it down on the table. I'll take a close-up with the camera. I retested it, retried. I put the plywood in front, and kind of what I expected happened. The hollow point actually plugged up with the wood fiber of the plywood, and just kind of drilled a hole through two jugs and veered off to the left and didn't hit the other two jugs behind it. So basically, the hollow point did not open, that tells me. All hollow points have an expansion threshold, the minimum velocity which will expand. They've designed these to expand within the parameters of a velocity of a 380, and you couldn't ask for better expansion in water. I'm going to get a close-up with this other little handheld camera here, see if it shows up better. On the target, the spread of shots at 10 yards was under my hand. A little of that was me. I know I pulled two of them, but it would have got the job done. They were all in the boiler works. Pretty much A zone on that IPSC target, behind the target, a couple on the Charlie. But in real life, you don't want to get holes in the boiler works. It's not conducive to long life. The pistol is designed for personal protection and concealed carry, and excels at that. There's lighter pistols, there's more modern pistols. This is a classic, and if you should inherit one of these, hold on to it. Stuff like this is not made to this quality anymore. This CNC machining and modern manufacturing processes, but these were assembled by craftsmen. Fit, finish, polished. You know, it's got some holster wear on the muzzle there, but the bluing is in remarkably good shape, despite all the banging around I gave it over the years. It'll serve you well in that purpose. Can you target shoot with it? Of course, that's what most of the time you're going to do. Can you go plink cans with it on your property if you live in such an area? Absolutely. You might say, why would cops carry two guns? You work in some of the neighborhoods that I worked in, and every cop carried two guns. I live in a place now where we don't have a police force. It's covered by the state patrol, and they're 25 miles away. Everyone's armed. Everyone's polite. When you do see the state patrol come up here, it's usually for a medical emergency or a motor vehicle accident. That's it. No crime. But there are other places in the various kingdoms where it's quite violent, quite crime-ridden. And if you live in one of them, and you should acquire, this particular firearm or something like it to defend your person, then this is not a bad choice if you come across one of these. Is it my optimal choice? No, but it will suffice. And there's no such thing as optimal. Optimal, super optimal. Everything's a compromise. Every design, every caliber, every cartridge. Everybody wants a self-defense handgun that has a knockdown power of a 40mm Bofors cannon, weighs 2 ounces, and has no recoil. The physics won't permit that. So this is what you have. Like I said, sadly the Gun Control Act knocked these out from being imported after '68, but the Walther has been making them, and I think their MSRP is about $1,000 now. I looked it up, and I think I read something, they shut production down in November 2023. But that's it. Thanks for watching my Walther PPK 380 ACP automatic Colt pistol cartridge video.